Convince me that it's flat.
There's no way I could do that.
What's up? My name's Jacob, and this is Cyborg Reacts. On this channel, I try to use logic to dissect why people can't understand each other when they conversate and why their conversations and debates turn into arguments. A couple days ago, I had posted a video of Eddie Bravo on the Joe Rogan podcast talking about nuclear bombs and the legitimacy of nuclear bombs. And that kind of got a little bit of conversation behind it. So today I'm going to watch a clip about him explaining why space is fake. I'm all for conspiracy theories. I'm not a conspiracy theorist myself. I don't really care, to tell the truth. I don't care if space is fake. I don't care if nuclear bombs are real. I just care that I get blown up. I just care that I get sucked into the vacuum of space. So if I could really care less personally if they're real, but I'm hoping today that Mr. Bravo does a better job of explaining why he has documentation and evidence and research to prove that space isn't real, or to suggest that space isn't as real as traditional science has explained it to be. If you like this kind of content, go ahead and leave a like. It's like right here. Just click that like button. And if you want to watch my videos in the future, I would really appreciate a subscribe. It does put me in a place where more people can see my stuff. If you hate me and you're going to click off this video as soon as I get done talking, I want you to leave a comment below and saying, this is why I hate you, and this is why you're trash, and I'll never ever watch a video of you again because you did this, you piece of trash. But I'm not going to hold you any longer, and we'll get right into the video.
You guys are gonna hate me for this.
What?
You know what I want? I want one example, Eddie, of why we should believe the Earth is flat. That's what I want.
Are you kidding me?
You son of a bitch! I want it so bad, and I am high and drunk.
We can
And
talk
you
about
guys want
flat
it
Earth
too.
as long as it's a joke and it's funny.
I'm
Because
cool.
if it gets angry,
Dude,
then it's not fun.
I'm not married to that.
It's
I hear
it's
that.
joking.
I'm not married to it.
And I want you to
Jokey.
Convince me that it's flat.
There's no way I could do that.
God, really? There's not
It
one
takes-
example?
It takes about a year and a half of like one.
Year and a half? That's too
It's
much.
very hard. The indoctrination's so strong. You look at your son's cartoons, it's all space. I look at all.
I like how he's posing the question. He's like, all right, Eddie, right? If this is what you really believe, then like give me a piece of real information. Like really tell me what's up. You know what I'm saying? Like he claimed that he's high and drunk, but I think that's a real question. It's like, all right, like if you really are backing this, if you're really behind this, then you should be able to give me a piece of information, dog. And I understand what Mr. Bravo is saying. He's saying like, you don't want to believe me, right? So nothing I say is going to sound like it's like making any sense at all. You're going to find a reason why what I'm saying is bullcrap. So like I'm wasting my time. It's going to take me a long time to try to point out things that you've never thought about before because you've been programmed to think this kind of way. And if he really believes that, then you should have like an entry point, right? You should have like the open, and you should be able to open the rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? Like there should be like a gateway to like, all right, well, here is my piece of information, right? If this makes sense, I can go deeper, right? But if you're going to argue with this, then there's no sense of me saying anything. Let's see where it goes.
All my shit, all the shit my son likes, his everything is there taking space.
I'm doing research on this currently.
Space.
I want to direct everyone to hashtag space is fake. I've been doing research on
Check
space
that
being
out.
fake.
Is that real? That's a real site?
Yeah, hashtag space is fake is something I'm investigating for my next hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm for legitimately looking deep into
Dude,
people
flat
that
Earth- there's
flat
so much
earthers
material
mock
there.
them.
There's
Flat
so-
Earth is like, what? Space is
No,
fake. What?
no.
You dumb
You
motherfucker.
flat earthers
No,
like
it's
flat
the same
earthers
thing.
chill.
No, it's the same thing.
Okay.
You got it all wrong. You got it all wrong.
Is
Well,
everybody...
Joe's a really good conversationalist. He's a really good instigator, and he understands that you can get the drink flowing, you can get some weed flowing, and people are gonna say stuff that their inhibitions and their wanting to be liked is going to prevent them from saying, right? They might believe something, but they're going to hold back when they're completely sober. But you get a little bit of stuff flowing, and then Joe's really good at saying things that like psychologically provoke people to say things that they normally wouldn't say. And I think that he's brilliant at that. He's a really good conversationalist, and that's why he does really good interviews.
I've got to think this is not very organized.
No, what I'm saying is,
I got to think I couldn't have it all wrong.
No,
There's no
everybody,
way.
anybody that
You see
thinks
that smirk on his
the Earth
face?
is flat, they totally don't believe what we're taught about what's above us. So when
the
people
sun?
say space
Wait a
is
minute.
fake, they
What about the
mean-
sun?
They mean all the stuff, information we're getting. You're lying about that shit. that it's not that it doesn't exist. Of course it exists. We see
Right,
it.
of course.
But space is fake sounds ridiculous. Like
There's
we're
something up
looking
there.
at it and it's fake. That's ridiculous. That's
just
not what
the
it means. It
Truman
means
Show.
that all the information we got about all
We're
those
off.
lights in the sky,
Yeah, something
they're
else.
lying. They're lying
NASA's
to
lying?
us. They're lying to
Why
us.
would NASA?
Who is they though?
Who is they? If you can't give me any information about who they is and why they would be inclined to lie, then I can't really seek validity in what you're saying. It just sounds like you're high and talking nonsense.
It's a lie.
And there's a reason.
Well,
I
I
can
would
sit here and
have
tell you,
that.
but you guys don't want to hear it.
Hold on.
So I don't want to talk
Can you
about
give us the cliff notes?
The cliff notes are, man.
Have you studied any?
See, on Monday, I think it was Monday that I posted the video. The last time I posted Eddie Bravo video, there was some tension, right? I don't know. I haven't seen the full video, and I'm not really a regular on the Joe Rogan podcast, but there was in that clip there was a bit of tension between the two parties. It's like Eddie doesn't believe that any traditional media and any traditional teachings have been completely unbiased, right? And Joe is like very much a subscriber to things that he understands to be facts. And so there is some tension there. But right now, Joe's kind of like putting his ego aside, and he's like, I'm going to let this guy talk, right? So let's see where it goes. Let's see if he can
He
provide
doesn't need
real
to, but
information.
let's hear just a few of it.
The goal has always been for the most powerful emperors is a one world government. They always wanted a one world government.
That's true.
All the Roman emperors, they try to figure out, they try to do different combinations. How about and they would fall, and a new emperor would come and go, you know what? I'm going to fucking rule
World
the world.
domination.
But at that time, they didn't even know what the world encompassed. You know, like they don't even know that. Like I'm pretty sure the Romans didn't even know that Asia existed. I don't know when Marco Polo did his thing, but I think that was after the fall of Rome. But I could be wrong. But I think Marco Polo was a Spaniard, and if he was a Spaniard, that means there's no Rome.
Aztecs.
I'm not going to let my soldiers get married. That way we'll have a stronger army. They have different philosophies. Everyone believed different shit. But they all wanted a one world government.
That is true,
So
though.
would have a fucking one world government. If nobody's into that shit.
Right.
Not even other rulers from small countries are like, one world government, that's going to put me out of a job. Fuck your one world government. People that don't know shit about politics don't want a one world government. There's no way you're going to sell a one world government. It's impossible. The only way to make a one world government work is to have the people embrace it. They have to want it because nobody wants it. So
Like 1984.
the trick is to make
Great book,
people
George Orwell.
want it, to embrace it. There's only one way.
I gotta pee.
There's only
Hold
one
on,
way.
Joe. This is very
You're gonna
important.
miss
I've
out
heard
on-
this. I know this. I know
Oh,
this.
okay. I don't know
The
that.
only way, and they've known this forever. The Vatican knew this. The Vatican, the Pope wanted to rule the world. They all knew it, but they couldn't do it. They all knew it, but they knew one way. But there's no way how they're
What's
gonna
the
pull it
one
off.
way, man?
The only way is if there was some extraterrestrial threat from up above us. That would be the only way.
I think there's validity in that, in what he's saying, right? Fear is a phenomenal motivator, right? So if you create an extraterrestrial threat, if you create this fear of like an alien invasion because there's other planets up there, then I would say that would probably cause humans to kind of interact with each other on a more peaceful note if we think that there's something stronger than other humans, right? People fear other humans, and that's why they're more likely to click up, and you go with who you're comfortable with, right? You go with people that look like you and live with you live, and you don't really respect and appreciate people that are from a place that you're not from because you fear a little bit of what they bring to the table and what they can do, and and that's really entirely subconscious, and that really goes back to primeval behavior. So what he's saying there is validity to, but I don't think that the timeline is correct. And I guess if you think space is fake, then history is also fake. But I think that the timeline is like a little skewed because people thought that there were like the gods were like the kings of the sky. You know what I'm saying? Like they thought that like celestial bodies were literal gods. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why constellations are named after gods. You know what I'm saying? They thought that the gods ruled over the heavens or whatever, and the space is the heavens. I don't know. Let's see where he goes.
Have everyone embrace the one world government. They all knew that for years.
That didn't work
That's
so far.
the plan. They could never
It's a
make
shitty
it
plan,
work.
though.
They didn't have the technology 500 years ago. The Vatican knew about it. They wanted it. And you go to the Vatican, you see paintings of like
Have you been there?
UFOs with aliens in them. And back when I used to believe in UFOs,
I've never been to the Vatican. Somebody comment down below and tell me if there's really paintings in the Vatican of aliens.
but before I figured out that UFOs they want us to believe in UFOs. They're preparing us for a fake alien invasion. That's always been the plan. A one world government. The only way to do it is to get us to embrace it. And the only way to embrace it is from an alien attack. Ronald Reagan talked about it many times at the UN, CFR. He talked about it because wouldn't it make? He looked at all the leaders of the nation of the world and said, wouldn't it make our lives easier if we just had some kind of extraterrestrial threat? He said that shit. He said that in front of the UN. He's trying to get everybody into.
I don't know the validity of that either. Somebody comment down below and tell me, like, give me a documental source where I can look that up and see that FDR said that.
I don't think he ever said that.
No, he said that many times. It's on video many times.
Ronald Reagan?
Ronald Reagan, sorry. I thought he said FDR.
George Bush was vice president.
Right.
He was talking about, and there's many videos of him saying, what lies before us. He's in front of the nation doing a State of the Union address, saying what lies before us is the opportunity to forge a new world.
I'm really all cool with like this whole
conspiracy theory thing. I really am.
I really like the challenging of one's thoughts, but if you can only provide, like if you can only speak of it when nobody's rejecting your information, if you can't really have a conversation with somebody without telling them that what they believe is lies, you know what I'm saying? If you can't find where information has gotten skewed, I really feel like you don't have a real argument. And that's just from like a place of logic. That's me using my logical brain and try to understand things, and not from an indoctrinated place, right? But using my real brain, right? My logical brain. I can't perceive if you can't have a conversation without really show me stuff where my logic has been faulted, right? I don't understand. I just don't understand. Like, I feel like some of this is nonsensical. If you can't hold a real conversation where there's a refusal of what you're saying, then it's hard for me to believe, because you don't really have any real evidence. If I say that, what about this, and you're like, oh, you don't believe me. You know what I'm saying?
It's either believe what you say wholeheartedly,
or I'm indoctrinated swan.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like that sounds kind of cultish.
Order, an order, because he's talking about
You think that means that?
But there is logic in what he's saying.
No. When people ask me why would they fake space, it's always been about a fake alien attack. You can't have a fake alien attack.
I've never heard a politician ever
You
talk
can't
about
have a fake alien attack
though.
without space.
But I've never heard a politician
You
talk
have to have
about
space first. So they always, you know who promoted space more than anybody? Who wanted
Nazis.
Who wanted
Scientists.
Nazis?
Russians.
But before the Nazis, you know who wanted
Cavemen.
space?
Aztecs.
No,
The
the
Greeks.
Vatican.
Mayans.
The Vatican. They have all the biggest. They have all the astronomers. They're all Jesuit Vaticans. All of them. All the one.
I think that religion is based on the fact that space is real. Most human religion is based on space, right? If we don't have space, then nobody thinks about God, right? If it's just us in this little bubble, right, and there's nothing above us, right, you look up and you see down, you know what I'm saying? It's like a mirror. If we were in a dome with a mirror around us and you looked up and you saw yourself in the reflection, nobody would think about God. Nobody would have existential crises, because you would truly believe that you're the only thing here, right? Space existing is a gateway to religion, right? So I would agree that the Vatican probably is obsessed with space, just like every other religion ever is obsessed with space. It's kind of like the premise of religion, is that because there's space, there's a possibility that there is something greater than us, or something equivalent to us, or something else, period. You know what I'm saying? Humans would probably worship themselves if there was no space.
Ones that are giving us this information about space, they all come from the Vatican. The Vatican has the most
But the
powerful
Vatican said
telescope.
that the
You
Earth-
know what the name of the
Wait a minute, the
telescope
Vatican
is?
doesn't have the most powerful
Yes, they
telescope.
do. You know what its name is?
What
to
is
this?
it
The
called?
most powerful telescope, the Vatican. And you know what name it is?
I've done the research.
On YouTube.
On
I have the
YouTube.
links. But you know what the name of this? Do you know
Isn't
what the
the biggest
name
one in
of
Chile?
this? The most powerful telescope in the world. It's in the Vatican.
What
Do
is
you
it?
know Lucifer?
Lucifer's
What?
dick balls.
Lucifer?
Lucifer's dick and balls.
I've never seen this fucking telescope.
Yeah, it's legit, dude. I think the biggest one's in Chile. I think they have to be high
It's in the
altitude.
Vatican.
Yeah, I don't think it's in
No.
the Vatican.
You guys didn't. So when people ask me why would they fake all this shit?
Well, I don't think that's the biggest telescope.
This is
Eddie.
just a crazy theory. I'm just.
It certainly is.
We're
Now,
talking
I've never
theory.
heard
Here's
the
the funny.
thing, these
It's a funny theory.
But Eddie, these new Chile Very Large Array telescopes that they're creating are fucking gigantic, and they take over enormous pieces of land.
Listen, I was with you.
Google
I was
the
with
Very
you.
Large
Listen, I was with
Array.
you. It's called.
You see,
I think that when your argument is based on the idea that you have facts that nobody else has, right, and you've done this research that nobody else can do, and like you have this information that everybody else is just blind to, right? I think that really what that insinuates is that you are blind to the information, right? Because Mr. Rogan is trying to like provide real facts and be like, all right, well, what about this? You say that the Vatican has this giant telescope, but like, can you prove to me that it's the biggest telescope? Because I don't think that it's the biggest telescope, because to my knowledge, this telescope is the biggest telescope. And if you say that this is the biggest telescope,
like, you should be able to support your argument with something concrete, you know?
an argument that is based totally in theory, totally in like the information that's between your ears and that you can't really share with each other, it sounds illogical. You know what I'm saying? Just from a logical perspective. I'm not saying that it's not right or anything, but just from a logical perspective, you can't really argue something correctly if you can't provide actual real proof to somebody.
If you just have to tell them that and they're supposed to listen to what you say and believe it.
That isn't how you teach. That's not how the world works. You know what I'm saying? That's not really how like information is. Like, we've been keeping records since Mesopotamia, like BC, like for over 2,000 years we've been keeping records of stuff. And I guess that that record keeping process could be biased, but if there has been a group of people that has been like keeping records to create a rebellion to this status quo since, I mean, as far back at least as the Vatican's existed, then y'all should have some records that are contradictory to the records of the masses, if that makes any sense, right? There should be some kind of basis that you can form your logic on, right?
It's called the Very Large Telescope. I watched the documentary with you at your house.
It was like 2001.
And
Yeah,
they
I
said in
think-
5 years,
Yeah.
there's a documentary about them putting together the Very Large Telescope in Chile, and they're talking about by the year 2005, we're gonna have 3 telescopes linked with a computer.
What is the documentary though? Can you like name it? Can you give the audience at home the name so we can pull it up?
To make us, we're going to see further into space than ever before. None of that shit came.
What are you talking about?
None
I
of
think-
that shit came.
Is that
They
up?
said-
Is it very very large array up yet?
No,
Nope,
it's a very
not up.
large telescope.
But I know they have them in Hawaii. What's
Isn't
that?
it weird? Isn't it weird that every space documentary, all the series, I had them all, Joe had them all, we watch them all the time. I try to remember all the shit about a neutron star and a super hypernova. I was balls deep in Joe. We're balls deep into space. And then every now and then we'd watch this documentary after documentary. Morgan Freeman got the universe. We had all that shit. I DVR'd all that shit. Anything that said space.
Will Smith
I was
has the new
fucking
one.
ball. I thought I was better than people and shit because I knew so much about space. And every now and then I'd watch all that shit and wonder what. This is all cartoons.
Eddie, why not?
This is all
hold on a
cartoons.
second.
And then I go, okay, whatever. And then I keep watching. All DVDs on space are all CGI. There's nothing real. And
I really think that's like, I don't know, like the way that it works. If you live on Earth and you're speculating space, like you're not shooting cameras up into space and then like waiting 10 or 15 years for them to come back so that all your information has been passed up and you sent these cameras to go look for something that by the time the cameras get back, you'll have already either proved right or wrong. Like I think that there's a logical fallacy in that.
everyone watches that. They believe it. The narration is all programming. What's above us and what we're on. We're being lied to.
Once you go flat, you never go back.
Listen,
This is the campaign.
listen, they're lying to us about everything,
Yes.
dude.
Who is they?
Who is they?
It's not
Yeah.
about.
Who is
it's not
they,
about
Eddie?
belief.
They are
Here's the one
they.
thing. Here's the one thing I want to say.
Okay.
It's like it's not that we believe something ridiculous and you don't believe it. We're gullible. We're gullible. We believe some weird shit about the flat earth. We believe some weird shit. You don't believe it, you're smart. It's not about that. It's about we actually don't know what we're on. We always say that. We don't know, but based on all the shit that we got by the mainstream, we don't believe that.
Here's what I
You believe that. So
think-
it's not that we believe something crazy and you don't because you smell it, the bullshit.
But isn't there a
It's like
scientific-
you-
isn't there a
we look at
scientific
it different.
tradition?
We look at it totally
Eddie,
different. We look at it as you.
See, as soon as you try to interject something into his theory, into what he's saying, instead of like trying to hold a conversation, he's just like saying like, well, you're indoctrinated, so I don't have to listen to you. You should listen to me, right? He can't really, you can't hold a conversation with somebody who's like thought processes aren't based in logic, because he's convinced himself that he's right and everything else that he's ever been told is wrong. And so there's not really any logic present in that. I'm okay with people questioning stuff, but he's not really saying anything that is rooted in logic. He's just saying whatever he believes to be true, and anything that refutes what he believes to be true is garbage.
You believe
you use
all
this-
the shit
hold on,
from NASA.
hold on. You
Hold
use-
on. And we don't believe any of that
Yeah,
shit.
but you use
so
that.
we don't
wait,
believe
wait,
that
Eddie,
shit.
you use that microphone. You use a cell phone, right?
It's science.
Hold on.
I believe in it.
That's science.
I believe in it.
Okay, why do
I
you believe in that? And why
Because
don't
I
you
don't
believe?
need a study. I don't need to read something to verify.
But you benefit
It's
from
scientism
from
because
science.
I experience
You
it.
benefit from
I
science
know.
every day.
I know. I love
Listen,
science.
why wouldn't you
I
believe that
think
those-
we
I
gotta
love
cut
science.
this off. It's 10 o'clock.
Man, we gotta get out of here.
It's
I
10
love
o'clock.
science.
Come see me in Vancouver at the Vogue Theater, and it's
All right. So that was my video today. Again, I'm not trying to debunk conspiracy theories. If you're a conspiracy theorist, more power to you. I really just think that if you're going to be a conspiracy theorist, right, you're going to do all this research and live your life in disbelief of things that media and the government tell you, right? Just try to do it in a place where it's logical enough that if you can explain it to somebody else, and you can pull up sources and documentation that back up what you're trying to say. Because there's a ton of conspiracy theories out there. There's a ton of conspiracies, not even theories, legitimate conspiracies out there, where what is said to be true is logically void, right? There's a void of logic in the things that people are telling you. The government does tell lies, right? Media does tell lies. So I think that you should, like, as a conspiracy theorist, as somebody who is distrustful of the things that you're being told and distrustful of the information that is available, I think that it would behoove you and behoove your point and behoove your movement if, instead of focusing on things like space is fake and focusing on things like flat earth, where no matter how much you all talk about things as a group, you can't come up with real data. Like, you can't come up with real documentation. You can't come up with real information. You can only come up with things that make sense to you. And then when you try to relay it to somebody else and they ask questions, it turns into an argument, because you don't have any real information. So you can't provide any real information to back up your theories. You just have to tell them what you think. And if they believe it, they believe it. If they don't, they don't. You know what I'm saying? There's a void of logic there. So that's all I really got today. If you enjoy this video, leave a like. If you dislike it, leave a comment down below and say you're an idiot and this is why you're an idiot and I hope you die. And I'll comment back and be like, look, I understand what you're saying, but this is what I'm saying. And we can have an argument or a conversation, whatever you want to do, in the comment section below. I appreciate you watching this video. If you stayed to this point, go ahead and subscribe, because I'm probably going to do this tomorrow. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Peace out.